You said that an angry mob had harassed you. So I guess my first reaction was when I saw that you were short again, I was like, again? Why?
I know.
Tell us.
I know. I mean, after my first marriage, I said I'll never do that again. And certainly I'm happy with the second. So sometimes you go back in. At the time, it was a situation. It wasn't a big trade. It's still not a big trade. It's not a big position. When the stock went higher, as a trader, I naturally sold some. The fundamentals don't match up to the stock price. And I think the dynamic is different this time than it was back in 2021. So, you know, it was a decent trade. It's a small position. Now, it could go higher. Sure. Why not?
But I think what's remarkable to people is we know how, you know, short sellers a few years ago fared when they went public, or at least it was found out who was short and by how much, and then they got run over. It's famously turned into a movie. So we all know how that story went. You described before an angry mob. Those were the words that you used, harassing you over your short. They were said to they've ordered pizza to your house late at night. They hacked into your personal accounts. They texted threats against you.
What's amazing is they should be angry at I've never met shareholders that have Stockholm syndrome. You should be mad at me. I'm not the one with the revenue miss today. I'm not the one who issued more shares. I simply have a small short position in the stock. I think traders have evolved over the past 3 years from where they were and understand short selling and understand market dynamics. So I believe it's different this time all around. And I'm getting feedback from that. So, you know, I know people wanted it to go higher, but I don't think that jihad that GameStop had around it, a lot of the luster's off. The roaring kitty premise is gone. As we know, the GameStop story is essentially zero now. The company's, you know, going to be the value of its cash or even more than the cash or the hope of Ryan Cohen. That's all played out. And I think it'll play out in the markets. For me, it's a small position. If the stock went to 100 today, I'll still have a nice weekend with my family, and that's it. This is not the same as it was in 2021.
I understand. Other than the fact that you're public about it again, was there any thought to just stay quiet short?
Yes, there was. And it was a complete mistake. Someone called me. I think a reporter called me from Bloomberg, maybe, and they said, hey, did you see this GameStop move? I'm like, yeah, crazy. They said, what do you think? I said, yeah, I sold some. I just casually said that. And then I had lunch. And then 3 hours later, someone's like, you're short GameStop? I'm like, oh, here it is. Well, that's out. But it's a small position. And I think people will understand. I'm sure many retail traders are shorting it as well. You know, you have to be cautious. Shorting's not for everyone. And the fundamentals don't match up with the stock, obviously.
You've raised questions, though, you know, I know about certain aspects of this particular trade, the size of it, how much of it he's amassed, what he's worth, what the position's worth. Can you expand on some of your skepticism around the size of the trade? There are suggestions that somebody's got to be backing him. It can't be Gil alone. I know you've thought that yourself, correct?
I'm open to being wrong, but this does not pass the smell test. If he made, let's say, 40, 50 million on the original GameStop, which people thought, and then you pay half to the government, you pay 40% to the government, and then you would have to pay, and he just put a position on that's 200 million, where did he make the rest? If, in fact, he made himself 300 to 400 million over the past 3 years being long NVIDIA, I think he would have told someone. Or I think he would have just kept his mouth shut. To me, it just seems awkward. I don't know where he would get the $200 million or $160 million. We had to have made $300 million. It does something about it, something that just doesn't smell right. I could be wrong. This is what I believe, but the regulators will find out. E-Trade will see any deposits into the account, and we'll know, I'm sure, in the next 3 weeks.
You know, we're waiting for, obviously, the live stream to start. We had been looking at the homepage, if you will. It clearly hasn't started. Maybe he's listening to our interview now. Maybe he's hearing you cast doubt on him, on the trading, the company itself. I mean, if you could speak directly to him, what would you say?
What are you thinking about? I'm sure every trader that watches your show, retail trader, wishes they had $200 million that they can allocate properly, have some for speculation, and have some for better investments. And why are you leading people? Think about it. He bought his first share at $2 a share. Split adjusted right now, the stock is $100 a share. And his thesis has completely not played out. So I understand. He was very likable. You know, Gil was a likable guy in 2021. He was that aw shucks kind of guy from his basement with a little investment. He was likable. And now he just seems to be not that same person. I'm not believing it.
There have also been some suggestions in some corners. I mean, the issue itself, I suppose, is better said, been raised about market manipulation possibilities. You've heard of certain platforms wondering if they should have him on their platform. How would you assess that very question? That we started this chapter of this story presumably with a drawing of somebody leaning in, and then the stock goes off to the races. So how would you address that issue?
I mean, he has a right. You know, he, in my opinion, and I'm not an attorney, but if people want to buy based on that, I mean, Dogecoin has a market cap of 25 billion, I think, something like that. People have a right to speculate. He has the right to put that up. I think it's a bit negligent. It's weird that people would follow him before he puts up a premise just on following him. And I think when Buffett filed on Chubb, it was up like 2%, 3% that day. We're a nation of gamblers. We know that. And this is just an example. We're just nothing else to be said.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure some are going to suggest that, you know, it's rich to some respects that we're having a conversation about, you know, possible market manipulation and what have you with a short seller who, with a group of short sellers, was said to be investigated by the feds for the issue.
In 20 years, I've never just put a stock without a reason behind it or a position. If I said it could be 2 lines, it could be 20 pages, it could be 200 pages, why I believe a stock is. What makes this unique is he posted an unusually large position, and that's it. Okay, so is the size of the position meant to manipulate? I don't know. This is up to the lawyers of the justice. What I've done as a short seller is said, I'm short a stock, here's why I'm short a stock, or I'm long a stock, and here's why I'm long a stock. And hopefully, in the next half hour, we'll know why he believes GameStop is worth $15, $17 billion.
What is the latest, by the way, on that probe? I don't think we ever heard a culmination of it, other than you were, you know, my words, not anybody, looking over your shoulder, so to speak, you know, wondering if they're ever going to come back and do anything about this probe that was hanging over you and some other short sellers.
Well, obviously, you know, with anything, I can't discuss, you know, I don't discuss any of that. It's not for me, it's for attorneys and for other people to discuss. I think what's important today is this whole nation's glued to this GameStop thing, and let's see if Keith Gill actually has the nuts on GameStop. Maybe he shows up with Elon Musk. Who knows? Maybe something he just has, maybe he has something. It'd be quite interesting to see.
Well, aren't you worried, or at least wondering, maybe that's better, maybe he and Ryan Cohen have something going on together in this name?
Well, if he has something with Ryan Cohen, that would be MNPI, and that would be illegal. But, you know, it is what it is. I mean, you know, Ryan Cohen's doing the right thing by selling stock. Why wouldn't he? Any CEO would sell stock. You're giving him free money. It's kind of more, I mean, I wish Eddie Lampert probably had this ability when he was running Sears to do this. I mean, it's amazing. People are giving him money for a pretty business that's almost in runoff. I mean, the business itself isn't worth anything. And Bruce is going to let him raise $3 billion. Why wouldn't he? Let him do his thing. Then when it all settles in and the stock gets absorbed and the kitty noise gets out, we'll see what the stock is worth. It's not going to be, we're not going to know at the end of this week or next week. Well, but in time, the market's a good machine.
Back to you for a minute. I can understand you don't want to discuss, you know, the issue that was around you and some other short sellers. Are you still worried, though, about being charged in whatever probe was front and center a few years ago?
Scott, I mean, anyone who goes and puts their opinions out in the public should be worried. Not for any other reason, but as we're seeing right now, and people have talked about, there's very nebulous laws about people who comment on stocks. It's actually been front and center because of this Roaring Kitty situation. A lot of articles on it, what's legal, what's not illegal. All I know is one thing, everything I've ever done in my life, I believe to be ethical and legal. And that's the key thing that I have to say. You know, I've never just, you know, putting up these big trades or these grandiose, bombastic things and try to get people to do things. That's never what Citron or Andrew Left has been about. It's thoughtful research for over 20 years.